SNAFUnews.com with my buddy from Chicago, Mr. Sean Ahrens. And, Sean, we're going to talk about something that's, well, just another regular snafu, as we say. And that has to do with this thing that happened down at the Port of Los Angeles about, I think it's a couple weeks ago now. I'm watching this story, and it says, some guy, got through a checkpoint and got into the Maritime facility, and I think he jumped off something, killed himself. I don't know. Did you pick that up? Do you remember hearing about that?
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, it was really a brief story.
That would be a main heading. But, we've got 3 hurricanes simultaneously. So there's some
but this was like about, a couple weeks ago before we had the hurricanes, and I'm watching the story, and some spokesperson comes on and says, we're improving that glitch or the access control. People really can't get through here. It's secure. All absolute malarkey, balderdash, baloney, and the F word, which I won't say in polite company. Because I used to work at a maritime facility. We had a contract there. And here's how it works. Let's call it each company down at the port has to have a security plan. They got to report the security plan to the Coast Guard.
Yep. Some
of those plans include a TWIC card, Transportation Worker Identification Credential, right? Little cards you get. I have one. You go down and get it. And once you have that card lets you into any facility down the port. Now, why would it let you into any facility when I don't work at facility B, only A? Why you let me into B? Here's a little funny point. The facilities are not required to have a TWIC reader, electronic reader, if it's too expensive. So they just look at a card and do a visual and say, okay, come on in. Here we go. So I heard a little follow-up. CBS is reporting that, they talked to the spokesperson. The spokesperson says we're gonna fix that. It's all baloney, all right? Because that's a union thing. The union doesn't want to look bad about people coming and going from their facility.
Right.
And anybody could just drive through a gate, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So this thing really pissed me off because it's just they're lying to the public about what the security at the ports are, and the ports are just a giant sieve. I don't know. You guys got a lake, but I don't know if you have the same kind of problems, but the Port of LA is just problematic.
Well, I'm a little baffled that you would have a TWIC credential, but not a reader to read the credit. That's the whole purpose of the credential is to authenticate access.
Well,
why have the TWIC credential if you're not going to use a reader?
What they say is that the database isn't updated timely. And so even if I have a database that removed Chuck's TWIC card because I don't work there anymore, right, which is a typical access control function at a regular business, it's not updated. So, it won't be accurate. I go, well, isn't that more accurate than just come on in? Now, the other pushback on this at the port I had, the facility, was that the unions don't want them scanned because then it acts like a time card. See?
Yeah, right, yeah.
You're going to say that he was late. Well, you were late. Oh, no, but we can't actually say it or verify it or do it. So they were not required to scan. So the union workers were not required to scan. So this is all a bunch of baloney. And anybody can drive down there to a port and come up to a gate with a guard and just drive through without a card, right? Which this guy did, right? So.
Well, you at least got some enunciation that you got an aggressor on site as opposed to just going up there with someone else's TWIC card with an ID that's about the size of your thumb and walking around the facility, right? So, at least that we have someone, ability to identify that there's a bad guy on site. I think the real story is that why aren't you paying for a $350? Arguably a $3,000 reader when you've got a rollout system that is supposed to. There's an inherent flaw in some of the things you're telling me because I thought the TWIC was supposed to go to a centralized database very similar to the CAT process, and that was the whole thing is to basically quickly identify, validate, and then also get people out of the system that don't belong.
Right. So well, they're portable readers. The portable readers and the readers don't allow you to look at that data in real time because then it has to transmit back to the station and download. So I don't think it's actually web-based. which, for security reasons might be okay.
Really?
But yeah, no, yeah, we had to wait for it to transmit and update, and it was just a big mess. So we got to do a better job down there at those ports. It's just the thing that makes me angry about it is that they just made up a bunch of baloney on the news and passed over like, oh well, the guy got through, and what are we going to do about it? And that's the end of the story. When really it's a super serious problem. Now the other thing is, let's say I'm company A and you're company B, and I'm company A and I'm $1 billion company, and you're $1 million company. And you have a security plan and I have a security plan. But if my plan, if I had the money, I'm going to buy a reader and I'm going to use the database because the Coast Guard's going to say you can afford that. But if you can't afford it, the Coast Guard's going to give you a pass. You will not have to have a reader and you won't have to participate in that part. Your security plan is different than my security plan because the Coast Guard says it can be. What do you think about that? Exactly.
I'm laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm laughing.
It's ridiculous.
Why even have that type of protocol?
There's
self-defeating.
There's some standards, but it's based on business necessity and ability, which I don't have a total problem with. But let's face it, we have to have some basic standard for access control to ports, and apparently we don't have that, and that's why it just so happens to be a SNAFU Friday story here on Security Guy News. So tune in next Friday for another absolutely situation normal, all effed up on securityguidenews.com.
Talk soon, Chuck.